Brilliance Audio.
The Family Bones by Elle Marr. Performed by Jesse Vilinsky, Sura Sue, Jennifer Jill Araya, and Arnell Powell.
The man rages in the packed courtroom, visibly spitting as he denies the allegations of murder. He raps his large fist against the wooden frame of the witness stand where he sits as he shouts, "I did not kill my father!" Gathering himself, subtly wiping the whiskers of his chin, the defendant straightens his posture to regard the prosecutor full in the face, to lean forward just slightly over his questioner and flex his considerable presence. "Certainly, a man of my position would not deign to such a primitive act." "And what position would that be?" the young prosecutor queries, nonplussed by the defendant's show of gentility. "A psychopath?" Chaos erupts in the courtroom, the sound muffled in this recording from 1945. From the camera's fixed vantage point, the defendant's expression is clear. A sneer curls his upper lip. Then a smile. Voices continue to clamor off camera, and the judge threatens to clear the courtroom. But the defendant slowly turns his gaze to the right. He locks eyes with the camera's lens, terrifying any of the psychology department's graduate students who dare to step back in time with this killer. I pause the footage on the computer screen. Calder Saffron Eriksen has the dubious distinction beyond being my great-uncle of committing patricide, the murder of my great-grandfather. His was the first case I learned of, when I was 7 years old and my cousin Alfred confided to me the truth of our family during a camping trip. We were psychopaths. Or rather, our family carries with it a long history of antisocial personality disorder that manifests in myriad ways. Psychopathy, sociopathy, borderline personality disorder, and narcissism, among others. At this news, any other little girl might have begun crying or run to her mother. But I only sat quietly, piecing together the clues from my young life. I recalled the way my father seemed incapable of deep emotion, the way my aunt preened, then manipulated her husband into buying her a fancy new car after she crashed her old one. The swift death of my pet rabbit when my Aunt Hattie discovered it had pooped inside her favorite shoes. Calder Saffron Eriksen continues to stare at me through the camera, through the decades to reach into the 21st century. A wild sheen coats his eyes. He would later be found guilty due to evidence that proved his motive and opportunity to go after his father. I suspect it was this moment during his trial that began to sway the jury away from his deep blue gaze, his all-American copper-brown hair that curved in the slightest wave. UC Davis's psychology lab offers only 4 computers to its graduate students, but access to dozens of films of trials and interviews featuring individuals diagnosed with ASPD. Some, like the one I just watched, are old-timey black and white files, grainy even with the best overhead lighting, while others are more recent, displayed in full color with HD. The Freedom of Information Act allows institutions of higher learning access to a long, though not exhaustive, catalog of trial footage. I'll take it any way I can get.
"Olivia, you're still here. It's almost 4:30.
Professor Marks stifles a yawn as he enters the small room. His closely cut black hair is nearly covered by a knit beanie. Deep laugh lines grace his temples. "Right, yeah, I'm just finishing up." I scan the notes I've made on Calder Saffron's behavior during the trial. I've seen this footage before, many times, and this last moment always strikes me. The instant he stopped acting. When he let the facade of an upstanding young man slip, and he was no longer trying to manipulate the prosecution, the judge, the jury.